he said, I know how to be low and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned, say learned, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. And for those who may not know who the him is from this English Standard Version, him is Christ, Jesus Christ. I can do everything when I have a need. I can do everything when I have more than I need through him, because he will strengthen me. Notice, you need strength not only for when you are in need, you need it also when you have plenty. You know you need Jesus probably as much or more when you have a lot of stuff. You know, all those pent-up needs you had, pent-up wants you had, man, you got money to go and buy yourself some trouble. I mean, go and buy it. You know, you get into arguments with folks, especially if you've married somebody. I don't want to spend all this on that. I don't want to do that. I want to save it. I want to, come on now, boom, boom, boom. Just go. Stuff you never talked about when you was poor as dirt. And you can get yourself into all kinds of harmful snares, as Timothy says. Those who desire to have a whole lot all the time. You get yourself into a lot of trouble. We are dealing with a problem of being bogged down and dissatisfied with our present situation. We know that God is prompting us to make a change, and every one of us needs to make some kind of change. Yeah, that change right there that you think about, that one, that's the one that he wants you to make, because it came up in your mind when you thought about it. Okay, now, there it is. Now that's it. I knew eventually it would come up in your mind. God is prompting us to make a change. We just can't find the will to do it on our own. He made sure we understood it, that we wouldn't get frustrated with this fact. When we certain things we just can't do. He says, first of all, you don't even know how to pray like you ought to pray. All right? And he also says, without me, you can do nothing. And they should have inserted in the book of Pastor G, all right, should have put absolutely nothing. As I mentioned, the book of Pastor G, as I'm taking a little commercial, I mentioned that last week. And I said, this, what I'm talking about is not from the book of Pastor G, it's coming from the Word of God, right? Some of y'all remember that. But one of our one of our wonderful members somehow found a way to create a book of Pastor G. It's the book of Pastor G. And I said, what in the world? Must have went on Facebook and got that picture off of there. And, you know, they're claiming credit to James and Amber for all the, Amber, for all the revelation you receive. Ha, ha, ha. All right. Here's the problem with the book of Pastor G that I noticed when I went back in my office. I was so impressed and so happy about having the book of Pastor G. Went and looked on the inside. Absolutely nothing is in there. So you know I can't help you today. I noticed that. It's all lined out and everything. Yeah. Oh, listen, we talked about that earlier. It's called Gotcha Covered notebook. Hey, we talked about that earlier. Wow. That's really interesting because, you know, by the way, I want to stay out of ruts in my life. So I want to monitor what I'm doing to see whether I'm doing things that are productive for God, because everything I do should be for Him and not me. Should be secondary, tertiary, but it should be for Him. And I've been keeping a record of it. Some of you have heard of this concept called the bullet journal. You need to check it out. You don't have to do a lot of writing. You just put a bullet on it, not a bullet, but and you write out, your task, and you write out notes, quotes you heard, You can put a contents in it. There's nothing in the book, just like with this one, and it's exactly the same size. I just started about, 3 or 4 weeks ago, and Amber somehow brings me another one. I actually, with some of my birthday money, I ordered a cover, and this is exactly the right size, and it's a little different because it was lined. Now, you thought about getting the bullet journal. That would have really just totally skunked me out. So I'll endeavor to put some things in here that are worthwhile in the bullet, in the book of Pastor G. And since there's nothing in the book of Pastor G today, I'm going to turn it down, and I'm going to read you from the Bible today. Praise the Lord. Amber, you are a mess. You guys are a mess. And I know you were probably the one who executed that. So, wow. Well, God is prompting us all to make a change because we all get stuck. We just don't know how to do it. Without me, you can do nothing. And so God wants to empower us. That's why I loved that last sentence in Philippians 4 that we read. I can do all things through Christ, through him who strengthens me. Praise the Lord. This study looks at 5 signs that you are holding yourself back. We talked about 2 of them before. The first one we talked about last week was feeling you never have enough. We just feel like, I won't say no more about it because we talked about it. Secondly, we experience false limitations. Only put on yourself the limitations that God puts on you. Sometimes we put limitations on ourselves, and we talked about that. You're stuck if you're doing that. Thirdly, and this is where we will begin today, I'll line them out and then we'll talk about them later. Lacking confidence. You're stuck when you lack confidence. And fourth, losing control. When you feel like you have lost control of yourself, your life, your surroundings, you are stuck if you don't go to God about that. And fifthly, when you are ignoring problems, you're stuck. You can't put your head in the sand. Come to find out, ostriches are not hiding from people when they put their heads in the sand. Apparently, they're doing something for their little eggs or something. They're not really hiding in the sand. So why should you hide in the sand? Just a little fun fact for you guys. Praise the Lord. You know what? Do that one in a minute, all right? There is a text in the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 30, verse 15. The leech has 2 daughters, give and give. 3 things are never satisfied, 4 never say enough. Sheol, or hell, because it expands itself. Y'all know that, right? Don't worry, they got a space for anybody who wants to go. I hate to say that's a sobering thing, but anybody who wants to, don't worry, you won't have to there'll be no waiting list. You won't be standing in a line. Sheol, the barren womb, the land that never satisfied with water, and fire that never says enough. Experience false limitations. I talked about the young woman. We know it as Helen Keller. She was told she would never escape from her prison of pain and weakness. She quickly replied, there's a lot of living to be found within your limitations. Boy, if we could learn that. We preached that last week, Annette. I know she's one of your favorite people and one of mine, one of ours. There's a lot of living to be found within your limitations. You ought to do a seminar on how to be organized, Annette, by the way. I mean, she knows, yes. You would clap if you knew how this woman conducts her life. And you learned it as a young person. You went to a special school for it. Since you couldn't see the things, you had to know what color certain things were, and you had them, let's say your clothing, in the closet, all lined up by color, and probably texture and all these different things. They're things that she is aware of that we just take for granted. They go right over our heads. And they're sensitive that way. And I believe you could teach us about organizing. Boy, a lot of us need that, Annette O'Garrow. Wow. And because it's a never-ending journey. Her house cannot afford to be out of order. And it stays in order. It's an amazing thing. But she found a lot of room within her limitations. And it really gives her an advantage over, she don't have to say, where is it? Y'all got me? Amen. She never has to ask, where is it? I told her one of her angels on her refrigerator was upside down. I said, one of you sighted people did that. She has it out for us, man, I tell you what. Did you not say that? Yes, you did. Yeah. She says a lot of living within your limitations if you don't wear yourself out fighting them. Isn't that something? That lady was Helen Keller, as we mentioned before. She said this. Can you read that with me? Face your deficiencies and acknowledge them, but do not let them master you. Say it again. Face your deficiencies and acknowledge them, but do not let them master you. Did you hear what I said on that? One of my favorite preachers, A.R. Bernard, said, concentrate on your strengths and manage your weaknesses. Don't try to, you've been fighting that weakness all your life. Just manage it, and really do your work out of your gift, out of your strength. Manage it, meaning don't do it if you can't do it, number one. Number two, find somebody else who can do it. Or number three, if you ain't got to do it, forget about it. Then move on about your life. You can't be good at everything. You think you are Pastor Greg or somebody? That wasn't funny. Yes, it was. Yeah. You know that you are stuck, third, when you lack confidence. I don't mean confidence in yourself in some kind of selfish way. I am talking about confidence that you can do all things through Christ. That is a confidence that's born out of the heart of Jesus Christ. He doesn't want you, now he wants you to realize you are nothing and can do nothing without him, but he doesn't want you to stop there. He wants you to say, I can do anything I need to do with him. That's confidence born from God. Amen. God created confidence. He said, being confident of this very thing. Did he not say that? Some of y'all know the Bible. That he that began a good work in you. And I'll talk about that later on. He will continue it till the day of Jesus Christ. Lacking confidence. We all have a voice inside of us of self-doubt. Every one of us does. In some area. And if we listen to it, we'll always lack confidence. To gain in confidence, the idea is to tune out that inner voice by listening intently to the Lord's voice, and to his view on your abilities. If God gave you an ability to do something, don't ignore it. God gave it to you for a reason. How many gifts do you have that you are not exercising? Or at least not dreaming and planning on how to exercise it. God shook he shook my life the last year or two or three. He said, son, you remember way back when you used to play that horn when you were a little kid? You have a music ability. Go and get a horn. And I went and got one and started playing it. And I haven't stopped playing it. I told Pastor Rick, I have a soprano saxophone. He said, be playing it next year. Because people give up. That was $500. You knew I was going to keep on playing it. And the one I got now, I didn't even tell you how much it cost. Oh, no, this is going to be for life. Y'all helped me buy it, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. If you have an ability in drawing, I knew when I was a kid, I used to draw cartoon characters. I told you guys about cartoon characters and doing all this stuff. And I saw I had somewhat of a skill with it. So in college, I kind of tried to pick it up and did some, learned some principles that I would not have known and made some A's in them classes. All right. and learned how to think about it. But, and after about 4 or 5 years, after I got out of college, I was married about 2 or 3 years at this time, I drew you and Jonelle. Remember that? When she was 3 months old. It was on Easter Day. It was a picture of it. I don't know when I did it in 1980. And so she was just less than a year old. Did that. That was a nice drawing. And I did it with real cheap little colored pencils because we didn't have no money. We was eating sardines and tater tots. Help me, girl. And eating that. And Jiffy corn. What? Stayed alive, too. Ha, 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 ha. Staying alive, staying alive. That song was out. I'm staying alive. You have to do what you do to stay alive. And yeah. So we didn't have no money. I saw in the store these little bitty pencils. I said, I'd never heard about blending colored pencils before. People have been doing them apparently, and I just didn't know. I said, I can't buy no paint, and I'm gonna try to. These colors blend with each other. And I did that. I ought to bring it one day and show y'all. That's a nice drawing. All right, did a flower and stuff. I said, man, I'm on to something. Then found out people have been doing that for years. But not with them cheap pencils, they wouldn't. And that stuff worked. God was with me. And he says, don't let it die. But I let it kind of die after a while. And then he dealt with me again. He says, what kind of gifts you got, son? I said, I can draw. He says, start drawing then. And I did. And I don't brag about my stuff because I think I can always do better, but I can stand here and tell you, I'm preaching, be quiet. I can draw, y'all, I can draw. Now clap. All right, now clap. All right. They ain't clapping because they don't know, see? All right. But I know I can do it. I know I can do it. You got to know, see, I'm confident I can. I can do this. So the things I can do, I'm going to really do them well. I'm going to try to do them well. Now, I can't do some things you do. My job as your pastor is to say, get about doing them. And I have a platform to stand on because I responded to him when he told me to get about doing mine. Yes. All right? Get about doing something. I don't know what my gifts are. Try some stuff. What you doing? Just try stuff. And you'll find out what your gifts are. You might have the gift of gab. Don't talk too much, though. People who hate you, they see you coming, they run. All right, let me move on now. As you grow in confidence in the Lord, you will sense his confidence in you growing with you. The book of Philippians chapter 1 and verse 6, I love it. It says this. Can you read it with me? Being confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. That is so comforting to me. Anything that God began in me, he's going to continue it. He's going to be there with me. He's going to stand beside me. He's going to give me genius ideas. He's going to help me to develop it. And it might even feed me. It might even pay my bills. And he's going to do it until the day that Jesus in the body comes back. Yes. My job is to make a good steward. We have a whole series of messages on stewarding the kingdom way coming this year. But if you will steward what God gives you, he'll make it better. And he says, if you are excellent in what you do, if you get better at it, he says, you won't stand before obscure people. You'll stand, if you have to, you stand before a king. Yes. I saw a little boy, and Leonardo knows about this, little kid over in, Nigeria, who I thought I drew well. This kid was like 11 years old, and you would declare that is a photo that he's doing. The little kid never learned art. You know how he ended up? The president of Nigeria got wind of it because it got around. And when he invited the president of France? Prime Minister, president of France, to Nigeria, and this boy could draw really fast too. He looked at a picture of the president of France, and in about 15 minutes he came back, the spitting image of him. He stood before a king. You get excellent enough. Get excellent enough. You don't have to worry about nobody doing all this. Hey, look at me. Get excellent enough. The world will beat a path to your door. Amen. Amen. Don't be stuck. Just move forward. Listen, you don't have to know about nuclear physics. If you knew everything there is to know about gym clips, I don't know, rubber bands. Just think, if you knew everything there is to know about them. There's stuff about them that people don't know yet. If you knew everything there is to know about them, or at least a whole lot more than somebody else, you would make billions of dollars off of a dumb rubber band or gym clip. What's that you have in your hand? Secondly, feeling a loss of control. Have you lost control? Do you feel like you're out of control and can't get back in? Is your life feeling like that? A father told of an encounter with a 6-year-old who was helping him in the yard. She chattered away about her Sunday school lesson on Adam and Eve. Oh boy, she was going on and on about it. Dad thought he would test her out. Honey, do you know that Adam and Eve sinned? She said, yep. What did God do to them as a punishment? Her answer came immediately, matter of fact, without even looking up. She said, he made them have children. Maybe. Something like that. Not exactly, but maybe. I remember that first one got really off track and killed his brother. Some bad things happen. So kids have the most amazing way of seeing things. Well, one of the greatest areas in which we experience loss of control is with our kids. Am I right? The problem is that they have brains. No, that's it. They got brains, which causes them to make really interesting choices that often throw their lives out of balance. They got brains in their head. Be careful of anything got a brain in his head. I said, somebody tried to get me to get on a horse one day. That big old thing right there? That thing got a brain in his head. Now, I'll get on something that ain't got no brain. That thing can make some choices, though. Might make some choices that get me bucked off on my head. No. Kids have brains. I'm going to tell you, they are geniuses, too. The older they get, up in the teen years, man, you ought to sit at their feet, because they know. I didn't say that, y'all. They said it. I just, look at her. Oh, look at her. She's just doing like this. Yes. This is the time to get out and live on your own and prove it to everybody that you're a genius. And then as they get old, they realize, Mom and Dad ain't as dumb as I thought they was. And then they get much older. They go, Mom, Dad, help, I need. Could you help me figure this out? Yeah, we become geniuses when we get older. So, there's still hope for you older folks. Well, passivity in this area, in other areas, is a terrible enemy. If you aren't running your life will run over you. If you don't make choices to run your own life with God's help, life is fine. You stand there. Life got to run somewhere, and you might be in the way, and life will run slap over you. You ever been run over? Tell the truth. Another way to know you're stuck is to ignore your problems. Just ignore them, act like they're not there. The Israelites hid themselves, listen to this, within their houses from the destroying angel before they left Egypt. Noah hid himself within the ark. The Christians, before the fall of Jerusalem, they ran into Petra and they hid themselves from danger. People who understand the trouble is coming hide themselves. They adjust themselves. They move around. They seek shelter. A person who looks around is such a person who looks around, they take warning. Listen, they take warning from the little circumstances, the little things that happen, the little puff of wind. When you start seeing the wind blow all of a sudden, there's a front getting ready to come through. Just a little sign. When you feel the temperature kind of drop, kind of precipitously, I have to use these words every once in a while, I learned in school. Just drop real quick. You got to watch for an alert day. Something about to happen, you know? And clouds, we can read all kinds of stuff, can't we? Didn't Jesus say that to the Pharisees? You guys can read the clouds and the sun, but you can't even read the times. He's telling you need to watch. If you will watch out for the little just the little things. I'm learning to listen to the little, I want to call them little vibrations, little checks, just a little check inside of me. Like, I don't know, even little simple things like when to get up in the morning. You ever felt that little check, just get on up? That was God. That wasn't you, because you don't want to get up. That was God saying, all right, within the next 2 minutes, you need to be on out of the bed. You feel it. Or if you have a little hunch inside of yourself, I wonder what such and such is doing. I'm thinking about, just call them. Just say, hey, I'm calling to check on you. I was so glad you called. Because blah, blah, blah. God, the gifts of the Spirit start working in your life. Just a little. And you start sensing those little warnings about people. You just get this little, you know what? You need to find yourself away from it. You know it when you feel it and you try to override it. Oh, you ain't talking because you got somebody you like now. See, some of you single people, you got somebody you like. Mm-hmm. And you see it, you know. You have a sense on the inside, this ain't right. I don't mean the normal stuff of giving, taking people. I mean that thing. You know what I'm talking about, that little thing. And you know you felt it. You are never caught blind. That's just that little thing that bothers you. God is saying, get ready to get gone. Or if opportunity may be coming. You prayed for something, and God says, call such and such. Or go across the room. They may have the answer to your problem. Or they may know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. Sandra saw an ad in the newspaper back in the year 1982. She was looking for a job. That's when I know what year it was. After all the hard times. It was hard times before that, and then the year started, 1982, when she got a job. Years started back. It wasn't hard times before that. And she says, hey, there's a job at this optometrist's office. I'm going to apply for the job. And I had just, been teaching people how to get jobs on my job. And one thing they tell you to do when you have an interview or even an application is to send the people a thank you card. Especially when you have an interview, thank you card. Didn't that impress them? You even sent us a thank you card. I'm going to give you a way to give you probably a 70, 80% chance of getting just about any job. If you qualify, 70, 80%, maybe even more. You ready for it? You ready for it? I'm not going to charge you. You better say you ready. Hold on, look ready. You ready? Ready. Learned this from my niece, all right, who learned it from her uncle. Watch this. You're in a job interview. the interviewer says, "Do you have any questions for me?" Or before it's open, they don't ask it. Say, I have a question I want to ask you. Now, you have any questions for me? Well, as a matter of fact, I do. What is the job you got around here that you hate to do? You just don't like to do it. It's getting in your way. It's stopping your efficiency. What is that job? And they'll say what it is. And you'll see the grimace on their face. And you say, if you hire me, I want you to train me to do that job on the first day. You didn't even catch it. You think about it, right? I don't know. I want to ask that. You want a job? You want to recession-proof yourself? Do you want to recession-proof yourself? Better listen to me. What is the worst thing you got? I want to take that off your hands. Teach me how to do it on the first day. My niece got that job. Something to think about. Some of y'all that did this, but 4 of y'all caught it, and you're going to try that. You might want to go to the job tomorrow, the one you own. No, you ain't going to do it. That's all right. Proverbs 22:3 says, a prudent person foresees danger and takes precautions. Oh, yeah, I got something for everybody. There's a prudent person. The next sentence is for the rest of them. Either you're prudent or you're simple. So this is for the rest of y'all. The simpleton goes blindly on and suffers the consequence. You ever suffer the consequence? Tell the truth. You've been simple in your life. Me too. You knew this was going to mess you up, but you thought just maybe this time no. Ignoring a problem does not make it go away. Instead of putting your energy into dealing with the fallout from the problem, use it to face the situation and work toward finding a solution with God's help. Now, that's just practical wisdom. I'm going to put that in the book of Pastor G. Man, that's a good one. Y'all got an ink pen? Oh, I already got it over here. All right. Listen to this. Here's another statement. That which the fool does in the end, the wise person does at the beginning. Oh, yeah, do it again. Come on. That which the fool has to do in the end, the wise person does in the beginning. You've heard this from your mama and your grandmama and your uncle and your dad and all those people. If you ain't got time to do the job right, you don't have time to, you don't have the time to do it over either. If you don't have time to do it right, you certainly ain't got time to do it over. And I'm telling you, if you don't do it right, you will, come on, do it over. Come on, you will do it. Somebody say, neighbor. I don't do this a lot. Oh, neighbor. If you don't do it right, you got to do it over. Clap your hands for your neighbor. Encourage them. Clap your hands for them. Got to do it over. Chuck Swindoll says as I close, every problem, listen to this, is an opportunity to prove God's power. That's what problems are for. That's why I say you got to learn how to love problems. It makes me itch when I say it, but it's the truth. Every problem is an opportunity to prove God's power. Every day we encounter countless golden opportunities, brilliantly disguised as insurmountable problems. There is no such a thing to God as an insurmountable problem. The only limit that you need placed on you is the one that God places on you, and by nobody else. Don't even put limits on yourself. I can do anything I need to do. I can face anything I need to face. I'm not going to be stuck. I'm not going through this over and over. I'm not going to be wandering around in the wilderness for 40 years. Get unstuck. If you need Tyrone, he'll come and pull you out of there. He knows what to do. Stand up on your feet, folks. The truth is this, if you will say that along with me. Can you say that with me? Only place on yourself the limits God places on you. Ever heard that before? Only place on yourself the limits that God places on you.